Hi folks, I'm Pam Demoy, the Decorating Diva, and welcome to one of our Back to Basics programs. We are tonight doing different ways of using zippers by the yard. I often get asked by people, well, how do you use those zippers by the yard? Because they're so used to buying store-bought zippers that have the slide on it and it has the stopper. And so they're really kind of a little bit miffed to how to use the zipper by the yard. So I'm going to just do a few things, a few different techniques on how to do zippers. There's things, if you're a regular, you've seen it all before. So it's a good time to go pour yourself a glass of wine and just sit back and enjoy it. Anyway, I'm here with Amy tonight. Amy records back. Amy! We missed her. Everyone. And she looks a whole year older than the last time I saw her.
I got a birthday.
She had a birthday a couple weeks ago. So happy birthday, Amy. Everyone say happy birthday, Amy. Happy birthday. So yes, and so tonight I want to thank my sponsors. I want to thank Baby Luck Sewing Machines. I want to thank Famori Cutlery, French European. Let's see, who else do I want to think about? Oh, Laura Star Irons and Gooderman Thread. Thank you very much. So yay. Anyway, so tonight we're going to do different ways of putting in zippers. So Amy, let's go over to the work table. And one of the cool things about the zippers that we carry is that they have a reversible coil.
Oh, wrong one. So sorry.
That's okay.
You know, this is what happens when you take time off. It's hard to get good help.
Do I have to get a 14-year-old to show you how to do it?
You might have to. It's probably wise. A 14-year-old should show us how to use technology all the time.
Just funny. Actually, she really did quite well. And even when my niece forgot to tell her to go to the machine, she kind of followed her next. She was good. She was really good. Okay. So first I'm going to show you how to make one of these just little boxes here, little box-shaped makeup bags, or it can be any size that you want. I like using pre-cuts for these techniques because it's to show you, like, you know, when you buy pre-cuts, you always have some leftovers. So these are some leftover pre-cuts from a Christmas collection. Not really fond of this Christmas Santa, so I'm going to put that on the inside. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just take the zipper. The fun thing about the zipper by the yard, there was a piece in the corners real good, is that you can just cut it to any length, so it's always the right size. Okay, so I'm going to cut this the length that I want it, and then I'm going to separate it, and I'm going to sew each side to each side of my bag here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the machine, and just so you know, you can hear my puppy crying. We are not punishing her. She is not being hurt. She's just outside, and we're not letting her in because she has just been wild and crazy. I'm looking for my piping foot that I like to use, and I don't see it in here. I moved these around. I did a serge across a while back, and so let's see. Here we go. There we go. Got the foot. Got the foot. Got the foot. I'm going to use the double welting foot. Now, is anyone new? Nobody has anyone identified themselves as being new? Let me know if you're kind of new to this stuff. If you've not seen me use this double cording zipper in my, double cording foot to put in zippers. Just nice to know who. Patty McKenzie. Okay, so this is for Patty and everyone else that's too shy to chime in. So, my zipper teeth, the raised side of the teeth is down. Okay. On my zippers, the raised side is the right side. So because this foot has two grooves, I'm going to let the teeth ride right in one of those grooves, just like that. And the advantage of using this versus a zipper foot is when you do a zipper foot, you're on the side of the zipper, but with this foot, you're right on top of the zipper. So you don't have to worry about the zipper skating away from the foot. I have to say my niece she fell in love with my machine and my iron. She told me I could buy her an iron as a present if she wanted.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh. Aunt Pam has all the cool toys, right?
I mean, if you're handing out gifts for Christmas.
Amy's like, what about me? What about me?
I'll work out a wish list for you.
Okay. So here's one side of the zipper. Now I'm going to sew the other side, and I'm going to use the other side of the foot. So I'm not turning the fabric around. I'm still sewing both sides in the same direction, but I'm using the other groove, the groove on the right side instead this time.
Mary C would like to know what you have in between the fabric squares.
Oh, all I did was between the fabric squares is I put a layer of my double-sided fusible shaping foam. Okay, but you could just use batting. You could use interfacing. You know, you want to give it some body. So I use what I have. Okay, so just again, use what you have. So now I've sewn to both sides of my zipper. Now, if I want to, sometimes I like to top stitch so that the zipper, you know, that doesn't get caught, you know, in the coils, like, you know, the seam allowances. So let's bring this over to the iron. I'm going to fold it over, and then I'm going to just top stitch it. You don't have to. And this one I did top stitch this one. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It kind of depends on sometimes how stiff the fabric is, or if there's time when I'm teaching. You know, I often will leave some steps out if they're not absolutely necessary just for time's sake. Okay.
Marianne, is there an upside and a downside to sewing that on? I
sewed this the wrong way. I wanted this to be the right side.
Well, too late now.
No, it's not. I'm gonna rip it out.
All right.
And what that, Marianne, what did she ask me again?
Is there an upside and a downside to sewing that on?
Okay, I'm not sure if I understand your question, but I think what you mean is, does it matter which direction I sew it? And if that's the question, no, it does not matter. If it matters whether the teeth face up or down, then yes, it does matter. So I'm not really sure I understand the question. So if you can be a little more clear with your question, Marianne. Actually, if you want to unmute yourself and just ask the question, and then we can remute you, you could do that.
Face up, question mark? And you had it face down. Correct?
Always face down, right sides together. So the coils go down, okay? Well, I should be using my new seam ripper, but I took it out. It's not in here right now. We got the new seam rippers in, Amy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You all didn't tell Terry I showed the new seam ripper last week, did you? Because remember, that was our little secret.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, we got the whole new scissor kit in. It's really slick. Okay, I'm going to resew this because I want this to be the right side.
Sheila says she learns more from your on-purpose mistakes.
That's right. I was telling my niece last week that I did that because I don't think she was buying it. Okay, we're going to go back to the machine and I'm going to sew this again, but this time I'm going to sew the correct side. Sheila's going to come out and spend a week with me this fall. And we're going to have some fun.
Eileen says, show us the new kit.
I have to go out to the garage to get one because I gave mine to my printer because they're printing the packaging for it. So it depends on how quick we are. If not, I'll show it next week because we are doing one next week. You have that, Amy, on your schedule, right? Yeah. I think we're going to have Patty Otto back next week is what we're working on. And I've been talking to Rhonda from Schmetz Sewing, and she's going to do Schmetz Needles, and she's going to do a needle program for us in a few weeks. I think that will be really fun. Needle education, right? We love to know how to use the needles, right? And use the right needles. So pretty excited about that. Okay, we're going back. I'm going to press this again. This time, I'm going to top stitch. See, if I'd had already top stitched, I probably wouldn't have bothered it. You know, this to me is a little cutesy, but this is kind of fun. It's not, it doesn't scream Christmas, you know? Yep. I know the red zipper kind of makes it scream Christmas a little bit, but I think it's fun. Okay, the little jewels. So now we want to top stitch this. So again, I put my teeth are right side up now, and I put them in the groove. And so I might want to move my needle over just a little bit because I don't want to sew right on the very edge of the fold. I want to sew over a little bit. Right? And now I will mirror image the right and the left. It's on the other side of center, so I can do this side in the same direction. So, you know, folks, because, you know, the thing I really want to point out to you is use those features on your sewing machine. You'd be surprised how many times I teach a sewing class and And the ladies don't know how to move their needle or how to use their mirror image. And I'll say, well, what do you do on your machine? I embroider. Well, you know, these machines are beautiful, but they do a lot more than embroidery. Okay, so now we're going to put the zipper in. So this particular technique, we're going to put the zipper in inside out. Because if we do it right side out, then we have to turn this whole tube inside out to sew the ends, right? So if I do it inside out on purpose, like this, with the pretty fabric on the inside, then I don't need to turn it. It saves me a step, okay? So I'm going to angle my zipper and angle my zipper. And I'm going to hold them both together and push and zip all the way off the end. Because if I only zip part way, this side's still open, right? So I go all the way off the end. And I know a lot of the regulars are like, yeah, we've seen that a million times, Pam. And I told you, go get some wine. If you're bored, go get some wine. Then at least you won't mind being bored.
Fran's asking if you can zoom in just a little bit.
I can zoom in just a little bit. Is that good? There we go. And then when I put it on the second time, I just leave it right in the middle. And the reason why I leave it right in the middle is now both ends are closed, so it's going to be really easy to sew the ends. So now I'm going to fold the zipper like at the end here. And I'm going to make a little notch. This is in my Hold Everything book, by the way. This is my Hold Everything book. So this is called, I think, the Grab and Go makeup bag. But you can make it out of any piece of fabric. It could be a square, it could be a rectangle. And then this little notch that I just made, I'm going to line that up with the center of the zipper. I'm going to trim this off just a bit.
Why do you do the zipper twice and then move to the middle?
I did it twice so that it's closed at both ends. I did explain that. If I only do it once, one end is still open, right? But if I do it a second time and leave it just in the middle, like that, both ends are closed. So I've got a closed end here to work with, okay? Does that make sense? All right, now we're going to cut the corners out. And you can cut the corners out any size that you want. But what you need to remember when you're doing that is this edge is a fold, and this edge is a fold, and this edge is a raw edge. So you need to cut this side a 1/2 inch longer than this side if you're doing 1/2 inch seam allowances, okay? So I can take this and I can do 1/2 inch here and a full inch here, or 1 inch here and 1.5 inches. And it really doesn't matter what size you do it. You can do a couple of different sizes. The bigger you cut it, the more square and less rectangular it's going to be. You know, it's going to be shorter this way and fatter. So the different sizes are going to make it different. Will you turn the AC back on? I am dying over here. We might, it might be loud with the fan. If it is, folks, just let us know. Is that okay for everybody? Is that too loud or is that okay? Oh, close the door, that'll help. So there's my marks. I've done 1.5 inches this way and 1 inch this way, okay? Is that loud on that fan or is that okay?
You're saying it's fine.
Oh, good, thank you. I can feel the sweat trickling down my back. And that was one of the reasons why a few weeks ago I didn't do it, because it was going to be 95 degrees and I knew it would be so hot in here. And I need to run the air conditioner when we're actually doing the webinar.
It's only about 75, Jean, but it's humid.
It's very sticky today. Let me see. Yeah, it's about 75. And this room, when all the lights are on and the iron's on and I'm standing under these lights, it gets very hot very quickly. So now I'm cutting out these lines, just cutting on the line. I'm cutting on the lines. I teach a class called 3 Bags Full. This is one of the bags. And we make, literally, you will make 3 bags in 3 hours. And pretty much everybody finishes every time. So it's really a fun class. But this would make great gifts like at the holidays or just to sell at craft shows. Okay, we're going back to the iron. I mean the machine. You know what I meant. And so, I mean, this is just a really fun project that you can make up a bunch of these really quick. I'm going to change to my open toe foot. And And I'm going to sew across this end with about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm very excited. Not only do I get to see a lot of my old friends this week when I go to the Akron show, a lot of my old Cleveland friends, I'm actually going to spend some time with Diane, who I do the mission trips with, and then I'm going to go to Betty's house. I haven't seen my good friend Betty, who you all know well, from doing webinars and writing books with me. I haven't seen Betty since March 13th of last year. So we're super excited. And if I want to, I could finish off these seams just by doing a nice little zigzag on here. Or I could run it through the serger, but I'm just going to zigzag right here rather than jump cameras. And I'll probably see Tammy too on there, and that will be fun. I'm going to go to church with Betty and see all her church friends. Fun times. Okay, go back to straight stitch. Now I can open this up, put my fingers inside, and I'm going to pop it like this. So this part folds down. Okay, let me show you again. This part right here, now I fold it like this. And because where the zipper is, it's kind of stiff, I'll let that just fold to one side. So I'm going to sew this with, again, another about a 1/2 inch seam allowance or so, maybe a little less. Just keep it to the edge of the foot. And we're going to do the other corner. So the beauty of these zippers is that they have a reversible coil, which means you can start the zipper in either direction, which is nice because it then doesn't matter which end you put the slide on. It also means that you can take that zipper and make it a reverse or a two-way zipper. Like if you're doing the top of a bag, sometimes you do want a two-way zipper, right? But what these zippers are not good for are making clothing. And one of the reasons why I chose not to get into clothing zippers, besides the fact that I don't teach clothing, is that clothing zippers are usually all specific length. And then to carry all those different lengths and different weights, different styles, you know, invisible zippers and Vislon zippers and separating zippers, all that is just a lot of inventory and a lot of work. And trust me, we have all we can handle with our 40-some colors that we have, and just keeping up with the demands for these guys. Plus, these are just so much more economical because you never have any waste. And this is the size case I actually travel with when with my makeup. This is what I keep my makeup in, is one this size. So this is a, you know, unless you wear a lot of makeup and you keep, I mean, this is the size I carry in my purse, you know, and I think it's just, okay. I'm going to zoom this back up. I'm going to turn it right side out. Poke out the corners, zip it shut, and I'm going to take it over to the iron and put some, kind of crease some corners into there. So let's go over to the iron. And I'm just going to I like to just press some creases in that foam. Move up just a little bit. Okay, and there we have a great way of inserting a zipper.
Jean's asking, what are the measurements on the bottom cutout you used on this one?
Jean, I cut out 1.5 inches on the raw edge and 1 inch on the folded edge. Okay, so, but you could do different dimensions depending on the size of your bag. And I made my husband's travel bag for his toiletries out of a bigger piece, and the dimensions would be in my book. I don't remember what they are. And sometimes I'll put like a little strap. When I do this last seam, I'll put a little handle, a little strap. Okay. So
it really was fast, Kathy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just think about it, like those make quick and easy gifts.
Quick
too.
and easy gifts. Okay, let's do another one. This is a class that I teach a lot. This is a great little project that I do. And I had this lady call me one time and told me that she sat, this was something we used to do in my booth. So here's a parallelogram. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out here so you can see the whole thing. Just a simple little parallelogram. And I'm gonna sew the seam here. I'm gonna line this up and sew a seam right here. I'm gonna actually cut it down. That's fine, the size is fine. So I'm just gonna sew this with a 1/2 inch seam allowance right along this edge. And while I'm gonna talk while I'm sewing, because you know, I like to multitask. But I was teaching this in my booth as just a make and take in my booth many years ago. And a lady called me and said that taking that little project, that class in my booth changed her life. And I'm like, what? And she said, I was always afraid of zippers, and I made that little project in your class or your booth. And she said, and now I'm not afraid of zippers. She says, I teach kids how to sew, and I teach them how to put in your zippers. So I thought that was amazing. And there we go. Okay, so now that seam makes a straight edge. Oh, and the pattern almost matches.
Almost.
All right, you can see right there. I'm going to just come back over and grab my zipper. So on that angled edge, I am going to switch over to a fun little foot here. Put my needle back in the middle. And this is our metallic zippers. Now, there's been a lot of questions about our metallic zippers. Can you sew through them? Well, can you cut through them? These aren't metal, they're metallic, which means they just have a metal finish. They are the same polyester core, although the teeth are slightly larger than our other zippers, okay? I will tell you, these zippers are made overseas. They're not made in the States. We work with YKK and all of our other zippers, but these were so much more expensive to have done domestically that we hesitated for a long time to do these just because they were going to be like 5 times the price. So finally we found a manufacturer overseas that could make them relatively close to the price we were charging for our other zippers. But we always try to go American made first. All right, so let's go back over to the table. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to pull over my zipper Genie so they can see how to use that. So the zipper Genie, you've probably seen that before, but it's a tool that helps us hold the ends of the zipper and put the slide on. So if you have a little dexterity issue, or if you're just making a lot of these and you need to speed up your time, there's the zipper Genie right there, okay? So I'm going to just cut this here. So I've got the 2 ends of the zipper. Just going to line them up. Okay. Oops. Oops, if I put the slide on. Slide on. And I put both ends in. Add an angle. And then pull them toward me. Okay, so there we are. Okay, now I'm going to turn this inside out. And I'm going to make it lie flat, the way it wants to lie flat. I don't go to the, so I'm not going to start at the top of the zipper. I'm just going to let it lie flat.
Zoom back out.
So it wants to lie flat, just like that. Oops, I got to get back down here. It wants to lie flat like that. Okay, so I'm just going to position this so it's lying flat.
Is the zipper tool on your website?
It is. It's called the Amazing Zipper Genie. And I think it's on sale, actually. So we're going to go back to the straight stitch. I'll just leave this foot on for right now. I think it's okay. And I'm going to sew right down. And then I'm going to zigzag the edge just to finish that seam up a little bit. And I'm going to trim that zipper. If I had this on my, if I had my serger turned on, I would just run this through my serger and trim that right off. Let's do that. Okay, back over to the table. So I'm not only showing you how to put zippers in, I'm showing you how to make some really easy projects, okay? That you can, you know, make little fun things for yourself or your family or your friends, okay? And there you go. Isn't that a cute little bag? This could be good for your electronics. I have a little bag like this that I put my knitting in. And when I knit socks, because I don't need a big bag. And I knit 2 socks at one time. And I don't like knitting the 2 socks on one needle like some people do. So I carry 2 bags and I knit 1 sock in each bag because if I put them together, they always get tangled up. So, but this is not a cute little bag.
It's very cute
with the metallic zipper. Yep. Okay. Here's another one.
Is there a pattern for that particular
It's a
bag?
free download on my website.
There you go.
So here's a jelly roll, half of a jelly roll, with my one-sided fusible foam. This bag uses the double-sided fusible foam. This one uses the single side. You can use the double on this if you want to. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. And you could use the single on this one. So it's kind of like personal preference. I show both of them because guess what? I want to sell them both. Right?
Good reason.
Good reason. Mama's got to pay the bills.
That's right.
So I'm using this curved line on our 7-corner ruler. And you could have used, I did use this to cut the corners, so you can use that too. So I'm just going to use this to curve the end here. Let me zoom in so they can see that just a little bit better. Curve the end. And draw this side. And do the same thing at this end. So this is half of a jelly roll. And guess what? How many times do you buy, for those of you that are quilters, you buy like your pre-cuts, your layer cake, which is what that little cosmetic bag was made out of, or your jelly roll. You use it in a quilt, but you always have a few pieces left over, right? This is what you do with those leftover pieces. You make these fun little projects. This strip of foam, if you make a purse or do something else, you probably have a strip of that hanging around. This was pieced together. There's a seam right here. I don't know if you can't really see it on the camera, but when I piece it, I do a diagonal seam so there's not a straight bend in it. So if you bend it, it doesn't bend, you know, it doesn't really have a bend. And then I took some fusible tape over the top just to join, to cover that. I mean, you can't really see it, but you can kind of see it.
Just barely.
Yeah. So I just use my scraps. Don't you love making something out of nothing? I know I do. All right. I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to change pens so that you can see my mark. And I'm going to mark 2.5 inches from the top.
Can you move it up? I can't see where you're marking.
2.5 inches from the top. I marked that with a friction pen. Okay, 2.5 inches right there. And then I'm going to mark a 1/4 inch up and a 1/4 inch down. So I've got 3 lines there. And let me see if I can get it. You know, I can show you on the camera, on the other, over here, because it'll show better. Can you see? Whoops.
There we go.
And you know what? I am going to need to use the serger on this one. Because I didn't trim down my zipper. Can we see if this serger camera's on? Boy, we're a lot wonky. Okay, let me plug her in.
Hi, Carol.
Turn this on. And I need to switch over with my other table, which I've got to find. Now you'll see how fast I can convert my serger. I find it's easier to do this technique if I run the zipper through the serger and trim it down just a little bit. Where's the other part to the serger? In my cover. Oh, no, my cover. All right, I'm going to run downstairs real quick and find my serger cover. I'll be right back, folks. Amy, you can talk about me while I'm gone.
So is anyone getting like Christmas in July vibes by all these little bags? It makes me want to go home and like dig into my scraps and then make up a bunch of these and then just have a bunch of little gifts to give. Or sometimes they'll make the perfect little container to put something else in as a gift.
I cannot find it. So it's got to be in here somewhere.
Fill a bag full of chocolates. Yeah, that's always an option, Susie. I was saying that these little bags are giving me like Christmas in July vibes.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Well, yeah,
like,
and you know, I'm just going to sew this without trimming it. We're going to go back to the machine. I don't know, folks, where my other table is. It's got to be in here. You know what? It's always the last place you look, right? Let me look at my drawer one more time. Not where I usually keep it, so I don't know where to put it. All right, so
I'm not exactly sure what it is you're looking for.
it's the other table that goes to this.
Is it the white piece that's on the counter?
It looks like that, but it's different. That's the
Okay.
one I have.
All right, I tried.
Yeah, she tried. Good guess, though. So let's go back here. So I want to start my zipper at this point and end it at this point. And I want to leave at least 2 inches of free end. So I'm going to leave 2 inches here. I'm going to start right here at this third mark. I can do it this way. It's harder to turn the corner, but it's okay. It's okay. All right. So I'm going to back stitch. Stiletto, even without trimming the zipper down, because what I was going to do if I could find the other part to my serger is I was going to run through this to the serger and cut off about a third to a half of this off, just to make it curve the corner better. But it'll still curve. It just have to be slower when it gets to the corner. This also is a good little project to do right on the serger. Turn. Turn. You should have seen my niece last week using the stiletto.
Oh, yeah?
I was impressed that she knew how to use a stiletto. Which means her grandmother or somebody was teaching her, right? Her mom doesn't really sew much, so one of her grandmothers must have taught her. I think that'll be just fine.
Vicky says she was impressed that Elise asked for us to let her.
Yeah, she did. And she was like, oh, do you have any stilettos? I'm like, oh, okay. I know where to find one. Now, if you're a subscriber, I haven't sent out the permanent link for that, but the instant replay is available on YouTube if you haven't seen it. And I'll leave it up for a couple more days. And then we'll send the permanent link out to the members who've subscribed. Now, when I get back here, I want to stop sewing at that top mark, not at the first one I made, but the one above it. So basically I'm leaving like a window of a 1/2 inch with at least a 2-inch flippy flap there, okay?
Very technical terms.
Yeah, flippy flap. That's right. Okay, you don't need following. I'm just going to grab some scissors and slide. All right, so now I'm going to fold this on that first line, the middle line, and I want to make sure these are cut the right length. It's the same length. And again, it's really important that you have about 2 inches, because what you have to do is you have to put that slide on, but then after you put it on, and even you kind of do it from the wrong side, you put the slide on, then you have to take the tab and push the tab through the hole, like right here. And if you don't have 2 inches, you can't get it through the hole. Okay, so now I'm just going to pull that through. And then I'm going to just snip on each, like where I stop sewing. I'm just going to snip just to ease that just a little bit. See how that eases that? And now I'm going to just sew right along the end of there, and that will secure my zipper in place. I'll put my open toe back on so you can see what I'm doing. So now I just go back and forth. And if you want to put a little tab on the back of your zipper, you can. I think we did that in the book, but you know what? Honestly, you don't need to, because you've just secured it, so you can just cut it off. Okay, so let's go over to the camera so we can see the big reveal. So I'm going to now zip this. And now I have made either an eyeglass case, or if you're like me, you want to put your rotary cutter right in there. It makes a perfect rotary cutter case.
You're off camera.
Whoops. And there we go. Isn't that fun?
That's fun.
You haven't seen that before, had you,
I
Amy?
have not seen that. I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
I was like, why do we have a really long tube?
Why do we have a really long tube? And why is she starting the zipper at 2.5 inches? Now here's a little tip. Are they loving that?
They're getting your, that's so neat, fabulous, so cool.
So if you want to, you can go back and you know, press these edges under and top stitch it, so that none of this gets caught when you zip it. It does make it a little easier. We can top stitch that. I'm not going to bother doing that. But here's the big secret. If you change where you put this, if you go down 1/4 inch, it's going to be fatter and shorter. If you go up 1/4 inch this way, it's going to be longer and skinnier. So if you wanted to put knitting needles in and you want it long and skinny, go up a little higher.
There you go, Marianne. So then it could be storage for Harry Potter's wand.
Yes, it could be. Yes, it could be. So
knitting needles.
So it will change. The size will change greatly. By just 1/4 inch, it'll change drastically.
Make that first mark.
Yeah. Huh. But isn't that fun? Okay. So just fun stuff to do with zippers. Zippers are our friends. They're fun. They're fun. Okay. Oh, you know, we still got 20 minutes. Lots of time.
Yeah,
lots
you
of time.
blew through those 3.
Oh, and here's another. This is a keychain, a key fob, and again, this just uses. You just make quick binding and put it on the zipper and use our hardware and fold the zipper in half, kind of like we did with. Where's the here? You know, the zipper folded in half like here. You know, the 2 ends. So that's just a real
what
easy
would you
way
use that for?
It's a keychain.
Okay.
And that way, like, if you want, you want to,
right.
you're going someplace
I
and
was
you
just
don't
trying to figure out why
you don't have a pocket.
there.
You don't have a pocket for your keys.
So you're making it as a wristlet.
It's a wristlet, or you can make a long one, and it could be a lanyard for your
Okay.
name tag.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. Lots of fun stuff. See what happens when you take a few weeks off there, Amy? All this stuff happens.
They want to know if you can put all of those things that you just made in one shot so they can see them all in the camera.
Sure.
View.
I'll do that before we sign off. How's that sound? All right, so this is how you do what I call, this is going to be a pocket for, like, it could be a pocket inside a purse. All right, so It's what I call my buttonhole pocket opening. So this would be like my purse inside this green, okay? And this is gonna be my pocket, okay? So, and just put a little crease in there. So I'm gonna draw a line here.
Can you zoom out a little bit?
I'm gonna draw a line. But I want to put some more light on. I just realized I don't have any of my other lights on. I can see the shadow. Does that look better? Let's just show up a little bit so not so much of a shadow. So I'm gonna go. I'm drawing a line about a ½ inch off from the center. It's still hot, so it's not showing up. Let me just use a permanent pen here. So we are getting ready for our Christmas in July sale. I know some of you have already registered, so and we're giving away a free gift to the first 50 people who have their registration in. So you want to, and I don't know if we've hit that 50 mark yet, but if we haven't, so I might have time.
What is that ruler called that you're using?
This is the 7-corner ruler. So I'm drawing a box here, and I'm gonna place it like this is gonna be wherever I want my pocket opening to be. And I'm gonna sew this box. It's a ½ inch by whatever length is gonna be my pocket, okay?
How do they register for that?
If you haven't, you send an email, and if you want to type this in, send an email to Terry. Well, first you can download the form on my email newsletter that I sent out. There was a link, and you can email that to Terry, Terry @pamgamore.com. And don't send her your credit card information through the email. Though we don't want to, we do PayPal if you feel more comfortable doing that. If you want to pay by a credit card, that's fine. Just call us with your credit card number, or you can send a fax. You want to take down our fax number? If you're old school like us and you still use faxes, it's 518-297-2698, and that goes right to Terry's desk. So there's no worry with anyone seeing that. I don't even see it.
And they don't have to register if they've participated in the past.
If you paid in the last 2 sales and your credit card information has not changed, you're fine. You don't need to do anything. Okay. So I started and stopped along one side, and when you get to the corners, you do not want to back stitch because you will mess it up. And then I'm just going to draw a Y here and go right down the middle. And draw the Y at this end. Now I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to grab my cutting mat, which is where? Oh, I hung it up on the wall. I decided I needed to start hanging it. So it happens when you put stuff away, you can't find it. So I've got my ½ inch line here, or my ½ inch box, and my line. I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut slightly to the side of the line, okay? And you'll see why in a minute. I'm going to cut slightly to the side. And I'm going to turn around and cut slightly to the other side. And I'm going to leave like basically a little string in the middle. And you'll see why in a minute. So now I've got this little string in the middle. See that little string? The reason why I do that is if I don't do that, I end up with the inside of this box being too full. The fabric is like kind of bulging, and instead of a nice square box, my box kind of bows out. So if you've had that problem with your box bowing out, try just trimming away a little bit of this fabric in the middle, okay? I cut away that little string. So when I get done, there's probably like a 1/16 of an inch gap. See the gap? Sure, let's just do it. Okay. So now we take the pocket and we pull it through the hole. And you can do it one of 2 ways. So I'll show you both ways. Okay. Pull the pocket through the hole. And I'm going to press it. Kind of push the seams to the side a little bit. And then we're going to press it flat. So now we can place our zipper right inside. We put our slide in it. We can place our zipper right inside like that. All right, and finish our pocket. But I like to do what I call the buttonhole pocket, and I want to make it look like a bound buttonhole. So to do that, I'm going to press that seam towards the center. And that is the main reason why I cut that little bit out in the middle, and you'll see why in a second here. Press this over this way. So now I'm going to fold this so it meets halfway in the middle, and fold this so it meets halfway in the middle. Okay, like that. And fold these guys over here. And I'm using the seam allowance to kind of add a little bulk to that. Okay, so we get that one there. So all that seam allowance is going toward the middle. Now, if I didn't cut that little bit of excess out, adding this extra fabric would make it really bulge, but now it looks really pretty, doesn't it? So now we take our zipper. I want to put some basting tape on there.
Can you pull the fabric up just a little bit on the screen?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to put a little basting tape, and I put my basting tape right to the outer edge because I don't want to see it and I don't want to sew it.
Sheila Hansen says she loves that technique.
Yes, this is, you know, people have said to me that they have recognized my patterns just by this technique. And so I've got a sample here to show you. So this is one of my from my book, just to show you inside. This is that technique in that zipper there. You know, it's a lovely way to finish that zipper. Okay. I'm going to put my slide on. I'll do this again with my zipper Genie. I'll pull my camera over and zoom in up a little bit and pull this out. And I'm going to do this one upside down to show you can do it, the zipper Genie upside down also. Some people find it easier to do it upside down. Again, both sides in at the same time and then pull. Okay. Now there's a little bit of a bubble right there. Whoops, sorry. Just a little bit of a bubble, but don't worry about that. Don't worry about that bubble. It's going to self-adjust. Don't worry about that at all. Okay. So now I'm going to leave that right in the middle. And I'm going to peel my tape off. And I'm going to center that right over the top of my opening and making sure that the zipper slide doesn't get stuck to the tape. And here's the thing, if it's off center just a little bit with this buttonhole accent, you're not even going to see it. So it really does hide. So if you're a beginner sewer, this does hide that quite a bit. I'm going to bring this up so that it's just meeting in the middle, and then we're just going to stitch in the ditch. We'll do that real quick. And then I've got one more to show you, so we should be doing pretty good. We've still got 10 minutes, right? And so I'm going to stitch in the ditch. When I get to my zipper slide, I'm going to bring it past behind my foot. I have to finish my pocket too. Stitch in the ditch, stitch over your zipper teeth. I always go slow when you sew over your zipper teeth. So the pocket fabric is still open underneath here. I've got to finish sewing that pocket. You could use a zipper foot for this if you wanted to. I wasn't going to take the time to change it. My fabric needed a little bit, so it bowed out just a little bit, but I think as long as you get the idea. All right, so Amy, I'm just gonna just grab some scissors. We're gonna sew the ends of the pocket, but you don't want the zipper to be caught up in the ends of the fabric. So you're gonna trim that down to about a 1/2 inch on the ends. I'm gonna trim that down. And then I bring this side of the pocket down. And it's a little short. Maybe I had the wrong, no, that was right. So it's a little shorter than, I should have maybe brought it down more than a 1/2 inch. But you're gonna start on one side.
Kathleen asks, what am I doing wrong that my zippers separate after I put them in?
I don't know. I'd have to see. Kathleen, are you taking any classes with me this year? I'd have to see what you're doing. I don't know what she's doing wrong. Okay, so there is my pocket. Okay. All right. What did I had another, oh, and this one is my home deck technique we're gonna do last, okay? So let's go back to the table, Amy. So I wanted to show you how to do a placket insertion. And I have a pillow right here to show you. Sometimes when we make pillows, it's just not conducive to put the zipper right in the bottom. Like when you have this fat cord, it's not conducive. This is the class where I taught how to join the cord. So this is the joiner here. So I think I did a pretty good job joining it. You can really, unless I pointed out, you really can't tell, right, can you? So if you haven't taken that class on the twisted cord pillow, that's a really cool class. So, and I'm actually teaching that class next month in Dallas as a beginner pillow class. They don't know if they're going to learn how to do twisted cord. Because it's easy. It's super easy. All right, so this is the back of my pillow, and I wanted to do a placket. I cut a 2-inch strip, okay? And so I'm just going to take this I'm going to take this over to the machine. Return my needle. It was cute when Elise was sewing last week. Every time she got done sewing, she'd pull her threads to the back. I finally said, honey, you don't need to do that with this machine. Because she was using the thread cutter, you know, and she was using the needle foot, you know, the button for the foot, presser foot and everything. She was using all the right buttons, but she didn't realize that she didn't need to do that. And I said, no, you don't need to do that with this. She's like, oh, okay. All right, so we are going to sew the placket side of the zipper. And then we are going to sew the body, pillow body side of the zipper. Make sure you don't catch your fabric here, so pull it away. And we're going to go to the iron. And we are going to press. So I press this, actually I press the whole thing kind of open. And then I press this back this way. And then I cover my zipper teeth with the body of my pillow. So I cut my pillow front and back the same size. Now back to the machine. I cut the front and back the same size, okay? And then I add that 2-inch placket. So what I really do is I add a little extra to the back, and then I trim the back to match the front.
Which foot is it that you are using on your machine right
This
now?
is the double cording foot or the double welting foot. So now I open this up. I put the zipper in the bottom. I would trim this to fit the front of the pillow. I'd lay the front of the pillow on top and trim whatever I needed to trim off. And then because the zipper's already in there, I can sew all the way around and I don't need to leave an opening. And when I go, then I would use this to pull it open to get into the pillow. And that is how you do a pocket zipper. Okay, questions? Do we have any questions? I hope I solved some of your zipper dilemmas or zipper fears, because And also, if you've got this leftover half piece here from doing that eyeglass case, you can, make another one. Or you could tie up your husband, or for me, my little dog.
You gotta catch her first.
Do you want to see Marty? Let me go get. Do you want to go get Marty real quick on and answering questions? Any questions before we sign off? She's gone to get the puppy. She is so crazy. The parallelogram case is on my website. That's a free pattern. I think we call it the one-sided zipper bag. And also, I think if you go on YouTube and you look for the one-sided zipper bag, there's I think a free tutorial there. Y'all know that I have a lot of free tutorials on YouTube, right? And you should, if you're not already, you should start following me on YouTube, because I post a lot of stuff on there. And if you miss it on a webinar, sometimes you'll see, is Marty trained yet? Well, Marty's training me. You'll be surprised to see how big she's gotten. She's gotten so big. Look how big she is. She's so big. She's not completely housebroken yet, but she is housebroken. she's like she wants to go back to Amy. But anyway, she's housebroken. Do you want to take her? She's kind of wild. She's housebroken enough that she can sleep. She can sleep with mommy and daddy now, so she sleeps with us, and she loves to snuggle. But she's super lovey and super cuddly, but right now she's super bitey. So she's like my little, because she plays. She's very playful, but she likes toys. I took her into a pet store the other day, and I said, "Okay, do you want the rubber squeaky toy or the little stuffed squeaky toy?" And she's like, "I want both, please." So I gave her both. Oh, anyway. She is just, she's calmed down now. Amy is the dog whisperer. See, Amy's got her calmed right down. Yeah, and her ears starting to stand up. Hello. Oh, she's some kisses to the mama. Anyway, thank you for joining us. And, we will see you, I think next week we're doing something with Patty. And then in 2 weeks, we are doing a tutorial on the new bag. We're going to do a quick little webinar on our new bag pattern. And there's a reason why we're doing it in 2 weeks, so you'll see why. So thank you for joining us. Give Amy a big thank you. She did a great job.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you next week. Until then, happy sewing. And if you're going to be at the Akron OSQE show, please come by the booth. I think we're in booth 17, Sewing with Mission. Come by and see me and Diane, and just give us a big hug. I can't wait to start hugging people. Thanks. Bye-bye.
See you guys next week.